Right. So, Koopa, how many times have you actually like spoke to people about Smash tournament or not even Smash tournaments, just like the fact that you go to a gaming function and that you might be on like an internet platform, only to have people tell you about like Ninja and Fortnite and how much money you could make on Twitch?
If I had $1 for every time it happened, I could pay off my student loans
If it worked
a
that
week
way,
ago.
if it worked that way, that might actually be sustainable.
It's a lot of money.
Dude, it'd be a lot of money because that's actually I think it's almost the foundation of this podcast, as a matter of fact. The amount of times I've explained um, my line of work, like my decisions to live stream and to record tournaments and the host tournaments, it usually prompts the same discussions with people, and people are generally interested, but they don't really know the questions to ask. And that's mostly because Twitch is still somewhat of like an enigma to people in terms of what is it? Why do people enjoy watching other people play games? And do you actually make money? Like those are always the main topics.
The answer is always never enough when it comes to the money, but
Dude, that's the American way. I actually think Twitch, it's like not Twitch in general, but just like online media and getting a piece of that is sort of like the new American dream at this point. Every young kid ever, like growing up, like it's not even like I want to be a star athlete anymore. It's I want to be a Twitch streamer. I want to be an influencer. I want to be on the internet saying stuff. Like that's it.
yeah, that's how it all starts sometimes, man.
And here we are on the internet saying stuff.
This is our we're going on how many episodes, like officially and unofficially now?
Well, okay, so
Like,
officially, let's see. We were doing this. I think we had 18 episodes before we started the season stuff. So then add another four. So this is our 22nd episode, man.
oh man, we're officially in old man territory now.
Dude, this is like, yeah, we've been doing this for some time.
We're in season 2 of the sitcom series now.
Well, hey, for anyone joining us, this is the Gloves Off podcast. We centralize all around Super Smash Brothers topics, but we don't really exclude ourselves to this, that. Like today, we're going to be talking a lot about Twitch. We're going to be talking a lot about content sharing, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube or anything like that. And there was a pretty big tournament this weekend that you were at, and it was I'm going to fight the urge right now to geek out about it because as a spectator, watching everything online, it was a very enjoyable experience. Glitch 6, like I'll say that much. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, I mean you were there, and we're gonna get back to that, but I really want to kind of keep going at this whole topic of Twitch in general because after watching how the weekend played out at Glitch, it does sort of it kind of brought me to a lot of conclusions, kind of seeing what the viewership was like, because this was really the first big tournament for Ultimate outside of Let's Make Moves. Obviously, Let's Make Moves was a big tournament, but like this is like the first tournament that really involved like I'm just gonna say it like VG Bootcamp is essentially like they're synonymous with Smash Brothers like content,
oh
especially
yeah,
the kind that happens in real life. Like they are the on the frontier of it. They're the pioneers. Like they're the guys. So this was the first time we kind of got to see them really flex and really see what kind of audience we really have, and it was quite impressive. Very fun.
yes, absolutely. Like you said, Let's Make Moves and other events like Don't Park on the Grass, which technically had more entrants than Let's Make Moves. Actually, now to think about it, retroactively watching our old content and realizing that, but nonetheless, yeah, VG's always been like the godfather of everything. Like obviously the pie has been much more shareable, like as esports has grown for Smash, but it always started and ended with VG. Like when I was younger, butting into the scene, I remember rushing home to watch Xanadu every Tuesday and all that fun stuff. And that was always a lot of fun. And this is like my third or fourth time going to Xanadu, and every time they always treat me like they treat me like I live there, that I go there every week, and it was great. Glitch was no exception. The weather left a lot to be desired. A lot of the people that we were planning to go with and were planning to stay with us, all got kind of bodied by impending weather. But nonetheless, we didn't let that stop us. The event was fantastic. Um, like So it's weird to like describe it to someone who's like never actually like been to the new Xanadu. But when I went to I went to Glitch 4, however long ago that was. But when I went, the venue was like still under construction. And when I saw how many people were going, I was just kind of like, oh wow, like how are they going to fit this many people in like a local venue, like as big as Xanadu is now? Like, for it to hold as many people as I thought it was going to hold, I was just like, oh crap, this is going to be interesting. But they had access to a whole ballroom on the other side of like where the main like where their main stage is for the weekly was the secondary stage. They had two like ballrooms like size that they use for both pools and the main stage and everything, and the whole of it was ran fantastically. Like the staff was great, everything was great. The matches were a lot of fun to watch, obviously. Yeah, it was a great event.
Dude, it was really fun to watch, especially because, as you mentioned, there were a couple stream stages, and here we are geeking out. But actually, I don't care, man. We could start with Glitch 6. It's literally the foundation for the episode. So,
yeah, we might as well.
Yeah, I actually it works out. So, what I took away is there were 3 streams. One of which obviously is VGBootCamp stream, like obviously it's their event, and then they had a secondary stream that was VGBootCamp 2. Which is another house stream because they have the means to do that. And then they had the Nairo stream, which has been a very popular choice for like did we see that much in Smash 4? I guess Nairo's streams sort of started to stream tournaments towards the end there, but not a lot.
Yeah, which is also something that we can talk about a little bit. But the big thing for Nairo is that, it's a lot of peace of mind with him when he travels places. And this even came up with Zero recently, where as we get to see footage of our good friend Shoyo James for a brief second.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I'll put this on the screen now. So
yeah, I'll talk about all the respective events a little bit. But the big thing for Nairo, like being the third stream, like people are kind of look at it and kind of like roll their eyes at it. But the big thing is peace of mind when you're like a streamer where like this is your livelihood and your income. There's a strong chance you're excuse me, you're making more sitting at home streaming than you are, actually, entering the tournament and like, placing in the money, which is obviously the case for a lot of these guys. I think Zero lost almost $4,000 in stream revenue for when he went to Smash Conference.
Whoa, is that like that's the actual figure?
Yeah, I'm almost positive it's around that. Because Sub-Decay is a real thing, man. Like, I don't remember exactly.
Well, the subs expire. So, like, if you're not active, and this is kind of just the explanation for the group of people who listen to this and maybe don't know how everything works. Like, if you're a Twitch streamer, like, you're making your money from subscribers and you're making your money from donations. So, if you're not active on those things, much like a commission job or anything like that, you're not making money. So, if you're not live for a day and you have a sub expire or several, when in the case where you have thousands of subs, then yeah, like a few days off, you just lose the money. I just didn't realize how much it was. But anyways,
yeah, it varies from streamer to streamer. Like I've seen some streamers where they lose like, it's like $500-600 for not streaming for the weekend. Like it's a real thing. And for Nairo, I know for a fact it's a lot of peace of mind for him to be able to go to an event and also still be able to like reap the benefits of his full-time job for the most part. But and obviously he's like the tertiary stream, so like it's not really like hurting anybody at the end of the day.
Well, this morph meter bracket, I think. Maybe this was on mainstream at this point because all the
this is on
done.
This is on VGBC 2. So
okay,
this is what Xanadu's main stage is during the weeklies, whereas and it's funny, I was actually on the main stage commentating Quad Strikes this time at the same time this was going on, so it's a lot of fun.
I want to find a view of that. I'm going to go back to the menu screen here. I want to find a view of that 3-screen setup because it was really pretty impressive. So essentially they have the production room that I saw, and this was the first time I think I've seen like them really flex the venue, like really flex it.
This is all like brand new from what I heard from the locals. Like this had only been put in like at the end of last year.
Yeah, because the stream room, and I'm gonna try and find a picture, but essentially there were 3 screens. There was the main stage, which was like the center screen, and then there was the second and third stream to the left and right. And as a spectator in the venue, you sit in the main room where they're playing the stream matches, and you just get to watch in a crowd. And it looks like they had a nice little mood setting, like low lights and all, obviously the projector, the big screens up, and it seemed very immersive. And having 3 streams go off at one time basically means that you're constantly going to be consuming some sort of like exciting play, like you know what I mean? Especially at this rate where everyone's kind of still early in the game and kind of actually, I don't even think that's a thing. Honestly, if there's 3 streams, there's always going to be a lot of action. Like, it's just how it goes.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that, obviously the main stage itself like didn't have a whole lot of like it looks a lot smaller than it actually is, but Xanadu itself is actually, like, as you can see, like right there, like Xanadu is literally littered with flat screen TVs like everywhere. So like even like on the little like offshoot, like, to the left of where the main stage was, there's like, people lined up with chairs watching there on the screen, just big screen TVs, and like back by the actual like setups and stations, there's like places to watch. So like there's not a bad seat in the house whatsoever. And the top 8 paid off. Everything about this event was great. All the side events were a lot of fun to watch. Doubles was super fun.
It seemed like just something was different because I've seen some, and I could kind of relate on this, like towards the end of Smash 4. It just seemed like there was a lot of lazy stuff to it, and I'm just gonna be frank about this. It just seemed like there was a lot of like lazy stuff towards the end of Smash 4, which makes sense because the game sort of died and the audience sort of died. But like there was something different about this event out of VGBC that I saw that was different than the other ones. Like the production looks kind of the same as it always has, but like something just seemed a little cleaner and nicer. I was noticing even a lot of the advertisements and the trailers they were playing for the script too, like just the production value in general just felt really crisp. And all streams, like I watched a lot of Glitch 6 over the weekend, like Saturday through Sunday. Like I watched a ton of it, kind of flapping through streams, and it all seemed pretty uniform. Like impressingly so. Like it's not always easy to set that up, but like in this particular case, everything was pretty much like the same suit, and that was cool to see. But there were some things that and this is where I'm going to transition more into the full-time Twitch stuff. There were some things I noticed that were definitely different than usual. Like I noticed the use of slow mode for stream chat. I noticed sub-only mode for stream chat, which was only I think on day 1. And it was very noticeable. Aside from the people just kind of complaining in the secondary streams about it, the chat was just very like it looked like the same like 10 people talking. So it was a little weird at first, but like I totally get where they're coming from, and we're gonna get to this. I don't even think it was a bad thing, but like it was interesting. I'm gonna say that this may have been one of the first few times I've tried this. I don't know. Have you ever seen VGBootCamp do sub only?
Not VGs in particular, from what I can remember, but like I've noted like other streams have done this before. Like I think when VG does it, it's when they're like white labeling for somebody else. Like if they're streaming like CEO or something like that, or Evo, I know that they do sub only mode for like all their channels. So like I definitely understand why they're doing it, because like the hard part, if I think for a lot of tournament organizers, is finding a dedicated group of mods to like mod everything, especially if you have to like sift through, like, because I think the views like capped out at like 100,000 or something like that, or like something crazy off the top of my head. But like
it was I could tell you that day 2 definitely had a lot more viewers on Sunday, and I think VG on their own, not counting the side streams, had at least 55,000 at peak.
Oh yeah.
And then I don't want to get ahead of myself, this is its own section, but then there was Zero, who was the second most Smash stream, actually above the second and third streams for the event, which is pretty funny, sitting at like 12,000 views, 15,000 views himself, like secondary streaming. And I don't want to get into that yet, because that is actually its own topic for a good reason. But in the meantime, right, so they managed the streams a little bit different than last time, and obviously they had their main one, their secondary one, which is very uncommon. A lot of times, especially in smaller events and even regionals, not even smaller events, you'll see, and we talked about this last episode, so if you're interested in dual streaming, check out last episode, but we kind of mentioned the benefits of having multiple streams and having basically multiple channels working on a tournament. VG's sort of got to a point where they can host a tournament, they have an amazing facility, and they have the stream parts covered. And then, as we were just talking about, there's a Nairo stream secondary, or I'm sorry, like as like the third stream.
Yeah, tertiary, whatever.
Tertiary. No, that is the correct term if we're speaking proper English for sure.
SAT word. Come on, let's get it. Come on.
It's pretty good. Never my strong. Dude, SAT math is my strong suit. Definitely not the English, but
I still can't speak English, so.
Yo, same. But like so there's reasons for these things, and I would say they're good reasons, because once you've hit the level that VGBootcamp's at, like this was a little bit of Twitter research that I stumbled across. I guess like the Reddit army or Smash Reddit army came out essentially saying how Xanadu, they calculated they have 50 employees. And right.
Oh my God.
So I think I'm gonna see if I find that tweet real quick. I think it was Apostle tweeted basically like, okay, so you count the 4 cashiers, and then you have like a couple TOs, and you have Gimmer, and then he's like, and I guess I do the work of like 35 people. And then I was just like, damn, dude. So
yeah,
like
he is a Xanadu dictator, so I mean,
yeah, man. Well, whatever they're doing over there, they're doing a great job. But in either case, so right. So you figure you make the money from the events, and then the rest of it kind of goes into that category of what we were opening the episode with, where it's like, oh, you stream to Twitch. So have you ever heard of Ninja? He makes like $100,000 a month. Like, so like that's what people think when you do this. But in reality, if you're hosting tournaments and you're doing tournament streams, like there's a lot more to it. So like you have like the actual physical labor of like setting the things up and calling the brackets and streaming the tournaments. And like there's obviously money made from tournaments, but then like you have to make revenue online for like the 50,000 plus people watching. So part of that is the subscriptions, probably not so much donations in the case of tournaments. And the reason is because Twitch is a very personal platform. It caters to personal streams. It caters towards interactions and chat stuff, like where if you're a streamer, you could talk to the chat and kind of like make it integrative or like involved with your viewers. But tournament channels, it's not really like that. It's different.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because like I think we've like talked about this in private and like obviously all that other stuff, but like streaming just works like so much better as like a personal thing. Like like you said, like the tournament channels themselves, like they usually don't really get like high sub counts unless you're like, Evo, where like they kind of force you to, sub, because then you won't be able to talk otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually interesting you bring that up in regards to the whole like, streaming as a brand versus streaming as like a singular person, because I saw an ad at some point when I was commentating on Sunday that VG is doing something called VG TV, where they're like 24-hour broadcasting like all of their past content and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like kind of marketing it as like this 24-hour hub for Smash content, which I think is very, very interesting, because what's cool about VG is that, they're always kind of like a step ahead of everybody else in regards to what they do.
Oh yeah.
Like they've always been like the model of consistency in regards to like, being like the premier local. Like, they're one of the first locals I remember to have like, professional equipment, and like then they had the backdrops and stuff like that for the locals. And now upgrading into this esports center that they're in, and now they're just always kind of looking for like the next cool thing, like how to, further push, the brand of Super Smash Brothers content. And, I'm definitely looking to see how that works out, because if that's something that catches on, then you're going to see 24-hour rebroadcasts of all these old tournaments and stuff like that. And I think that, that's the floodgates are opening all over the place.
For sure. Yeah, that is an interesting point. I think that idea is very cool, especially because you're talking about a stream that's been around. How long have they been around? Since like 2000, like 8, 9? When did VGBootcamp start? They've been around for at least 10 or 11 years.
They've been around for a while.
At least a decade. I'm pretty sure it's more than that, at least by a year. But
yeah.
So right. So becoming full-time as like a Twitch streamer. So if you're doing this as a tournament channel, you have to do things a little bit differently, because of the fact that like Twitch doesn't really cater towards tournament channels. Like is plain and simple what it is. It's very personalized, especially with donations and all that kinds of stuff, chat interaction. So Doing things like sub-only mode, I commend them for trying it. I don't know if it's really going to necessarily be... I don't know if it's a thing that people will accept, really. Like, people don't want to be
Right.
told you have to pay $5 so you could say something in a chat. And the thing about the chat is, like, I think we talked about this in the famed sports episode that we had a while back, months back, where like Twitch chat is essentially like if you're in a stadium and you have like nosebleed seats and just people yelling, like Twitch chat is basically that. It's like a crowd of people, like in bleacher or I'm sorry, in a stadium, just like yelling, whether it be just gibberish, profanity, or like encouraging stuff, like that's Twitch chat, but in chat form.
Yeah.
So like you don't really want to lose that with sub only mode, but alternatively, how else do you really get people to sub to a tournament channel? You have to really like offer something, Not
Yeah.
that they don't, but
You'd be surprised how many people like need their emotes or just want the emotes in general. Like that shit means a lot to people. So like just to be able to like spam your pog chants every 10 minutes in the chat and then like I feel like the sub decay on those channels are like a lot worse because like then people just like immediately like unsub afterwards.
yeah, pretty
Um
much.
yeah, but nonetheless, it makes a huge difference like you were saying. And also I can confirm that VGBC was founded in 2009. So
Yeah, I thought so.
shout
So,
outs to Liquidpedia.
well, yeah, so because like they're known from obviously all of as far back as like the Melee docs, which is like has like millions of views at this point, almost at 3 million as I'm seeing it now. But like, that was all VGBC stuff, doing all the things that the bulk of channels have sort of followed suit with in terms of like not just running tournaments and like building up like players and like interviews and stuff. Like they've been doing that now for a long time. So like they have the history to do this. So
Right.
the interesting part though is like, okay, so it becomes sustainable. Like you have VG Bootcamp that has a big tournament, which I guess this was originally what I wanted to do the episode about, but it is a little bit of a subtopic. Like, does this count as a major or no? Because I feel like a major at this point is different than what a major was in Smash 4. Like,
Yeah.
it just is. I don't even
Yeah,
know if they would call this a major, to be honest, but it felt like one.
They were calling it a lot. I've heard the word like tossed around a lot. It's pretty much it's a major. It might as well be.
That's
Like,
what I was gonna say.
I feel it's weird because like obviously like you said the term has changed as the years have progressed, but like this definitely qualifies. Like I feel like it quantifies as a major just because when you look at the talent pool and like the entrance and the production value, like even if it wasn't marketed as such, it is a major at the end of the day. And then you look at something like Genesis, which is marketed as a super major, and all that stuff.
Well, so is Pound, which is also going to be in Xanadu, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, and I can already sign myself up for that because Pound 2016 was probably one of my favorite events I've ever attended. Outside of the fact that I had to spend $7 for a hotel Coke, or excuse me, a Pepsi in the mini fridge in the hotel because they didn't have vending machines in this hotel.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I'm never staying in a Ritz Carlton ever again. Don't at me.
See, you gotta make the 7-Eleven trip. Come prepared.
Oh, please. Oh yeah, dude. It was. Driving in Maryland is so strange. Everything about it just gives me anxiety.
Yeah, man. I don't know. The further south you get, things change.
It's
Alternatively,
real
the further
weird.
north you get, the more aggressive like driving gets. But
Oh yeah,
we
without a
we
doubt.
we digress. but so I don't know, man. Like so I this tournament though, aside from like the obvious things that would make it be like major-esque, it also had all three of what I would say are the biggest Smash specific streamers active, and those being VG Bootcamp, obviously the biggest, the daddy, and then you had Nairo, who's like the biggest. Well, he was the biggest Smash 4 streamer for a while when Zero sort of like dipped from Smash and was doing variety stuff. And then you have Zero, who is now like probably the biggest personal streamer for Smash. So
Yeah,
all three of these entities involved over the weekend collectively.
yeah. I saw some stat over the weekend. I don't remember for how long ago it was, but Zero was like one of the number. I think like the third most watched streamed in like a week span or something like that. So he's definitely pushing out the content, and obviously, him getting the rights to restream everything that was going on too definitely helps. And I don't
yeah,
know if you want to transition into that now.
that's exactly. Yep. Why don't you keep going with that sentiment?
Yeah, yeah. So this is actually something I completely forgot that this happened in before, but Zero got is when Zero was taking his break from competing, and he was restreaming all of Genesis last year. And obviously, some people felt kind of rubbed the wrong way by that, and yada yada yada. Like, I can understand where people would feel bad about it, but I feel like it's just such a great recycling of viewership and stuff like that. Because here's the thing, like you said, Zero is going to be the second most watched stream out of any secondary stream you have, just because he has that type of reach because of who he is
By a lot,
so then,
by the way.
yes. So then he takes that and then plugs it into a host for the main channel, come Sunday or whenever he decides to stop streaming. And then, that gets a bump in viewership. And then when he goes live again, it's going to be the same deal again, and so on and so on. It's just like ergonomically just growing your viewer base and the reach that your content has. And obviously, like, Zero's a top player, so he's going to provide a different sort of watch for somebody. Like, as a commentator, I can understand why people could be like bummed out by that, because you're kind of the I'm never gonna sit here and tell you I know more about a video game than Zero does, because he's a genius. Like, I look like an idiot if I said that. So like, but like I said, it's different stroke for different blokes. People like to consume their content in different ways. Like, I'm sure you have multiple devices that all have Netflix on it for some reason, just for the sake of having it.
Well, what I think the biggest thing about this is and you said it earlier, but I want to reemphasize, is Zero did get the rights. Like, this was like an agreement with VGBootCamp that like he could restream and it's all Gucci. No one cares. It's all good. No, you know what I mean? Like, no one's salty about ad revenue, and no one's like about viewership, because here's what, and this might be a hot take maybe, but like, here's the thing about Twitch, right? So we're driving this point just not long ago about how it's a personal platform. Well, there's a very, 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 very good chance that by Zero restreaming this tournament, like, that you're exposed to newer viewers who are just there to watch Zero, like just watch him do anything, right?
Yep,
because
exactly.
that's their streamer of choice. So not only are you like actively sharing the content, like, it's no different than like if you clip something and like on Twitch and then share it to social media. Like, I really think, and here's the hot take part, I really consider Twitch mostly, for most people, more of a social media platform than it is like a money-making or business platform. Despite the dream to be like a big streamer and to make money with it, the reality is, at least at this point, the majority of people using it, whether it be even just to stream or to watch, it's social media, man. And the fact is the biggest part about social media is sharing content. You share things through other people's networks so other people see it. So just by that alone, like, Zero sharing that stuff, like, you're getting more views and you're getting more interest. And maybe someone might not want to watch just like traditional commentary. I can even tell you right now, like, this is another thing we talked about a while back. It was a Twitch episode last time. I think this was right after TwitchCon, because it was I believe his name is Kevin Lin, one of the co-founders of Twitch. He was saying if he has to basically explain Twitch as a platform to people, it's basically just that. It's like, okay, you're sitting with a bunch of people in a room and someone's playing a video game, and you guys are just hanging out and just watching that person play, but like that, and that's the content. So this is really no different. Like, it's one, it is an actual video game, and two, like, it's people just hanging out with Zero as like their streamer. Like it literally makes a lot of sense. Like, if you're VGBootCamp, there's no reason you wouldn't want someone with a namesake such as Zero to not restream it. Like, even despite the possible like subs you could get, like, chances are you wouldn't have had those subs anyways. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's all for the better growth of both the scene and your tournament.
And
like, I think it's perfectly fine.
And VGBootCamp keeps that content, obviously. Like, people will go there to watch it after. So like, it's really kind of the live stream is sort of what it is. Like, you can make money on Twitch, but like, I would guarantee you that like the Twitch aspect of it is probably not VGBootCamp's biggest like money-making aspect of this whole tournament. I will agree that it obviously supplements a lot of the stuff between the ad revenue and the subs that they do get, but like, that sort of goes to all of the work that's happening like physically too, like that money, I would think. So
yeah, of course.
So, but in either case, this isn't even a new phenomena. Like, I've seen since the NFL we're at the end of the season now. They were doing Thursday Night Football on Twitch on Twitch Prime's Twitch channel, and I would see a lot of the bigger streamers. Like, and I brought Tim the Tatman up before. He's like one of the biggest streamers on Twitch. Or he's up there at the very least. But he restreams like the Twitch Prime video of the NFL game with himself over it for very similar reasons that we were just talking about, like this. And like the NFL obviously doesn't care, Twitch obviously doesn't care. Like this happens on Twitch all the time. The amount of times I just like tune into a Twitch streamer just to watch them just stream random YouTube videos and whatever and call it their own content. Like the reality is you're just hanging out, and that's streaming in a nutshell. Like it's not really like content creation necessarily like you would think on YouTube. It's more like you're hanging out and you're going to either donate or subscribe or whatever if you're enjoying the sort of energy that comes with the stream.
Yeah, of course. Like, there's always going to, like you said, there's always going to be different ways to consume your content, and people are always going to find like different ways to push that content, whichever way seems fit for everybody. But like the problem that people always have with restreaming is that it makes you feel dirty or whatever. But like,
yeah,
like I said, as long as every party is like fine with it, I don't really think it's.
I think that's the point it's at. Like I've even seen some streamers like self-loathe about the fact that they're just like stealing content or like just like, you know, that sort of thing. You catch a lot of moods on live streams, but like, I don't know, doesn't seem to be an issue. It seems to be pretty commonplace now. So I think we're at that point where it's become mostly accepted and like expected even, you know, like I actually sort of enjoy watching some streamers just like dick around on YouTube. Like there's some enjoyment to get out of that.
That's the best. Those are the best types of streams.
I agree, man.
The 4 a.m. poverty streams where you go down to Mr. Rogers like rabbit hole.
Dude,
Great.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I guess let's talk a little more specifics about Glitch then, since we kind of covered a lot of the stuff around it in terms of, like, we talked, we covered the streams, we covered the kind of revenue aspect of it. But, like, the actual tournament, if there's one thing to take away is that Tweak is the very definitive best player at the moment, taking his second big tournament in a short time.
Yeah, Nairo actually said it the best in his post-tournament interview, whereas Tweak, as like the storylines going into this is like this is a huge event going into Genesis. Like it's probably going to be the last big event that factors seeding into Genesis. And Nairo said it the best in his post-tournament interview that Tweak has solidified himself as the best player in the States right now. Like he didn't say the word worldwide because obviously there hasn't been any Japanese players present at these tournaments. And I feel like Genesis is obviously going to be the huge benchmark for that. But without a doubt, he solidified himself as like the best player right now using a character that I don't think anybody like, you know, expected to be making the waves that they have. And it's really only been Tweak and Gluttony, but Gluttony hasn't really had, in my opinion, the same level of competition that Tweak has had to go through. Because like usually who he had to beat Light, he had to beat Nairo, he had to beat who did he play in semis? Was it Light? No, it was Nairo again.
No, yeah, because he played Light in finals, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So like like I said, needless to say, like he had to beat a lot of people this weekend. And it was a lot of fun to watch. And obviously, you know, the main stream was a lot of fun. Tweak actually won dubs this weekend too. Did they win teams? Yeah, they won.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
They won teams. Yeah, they reset. But and also it was my first. I had the pleasure of commentating the squad side of it, which in my opinion, which was so much fun. And I hope a lot of other tournaments like adopt that format of a side event because it was so much fun to commentate. Like,
well, that's Glitch's thing, right? They basically do all the kind of like off the you know, the usual trail side events. Like they used to do amiibo brackets. They were doing like just weird stuff that you wouldn't usually see at Glitch.
Yo, bring back the amiibo brackets. That was like that was like pure anarchy. That was so much. I watched an amiibo mash out of Lucario side B. It was the craziest thing I've seen in my entire fucking life. But like, yeah, it was a lot of fun and it was super interesting. I was a little bummed out personally because my static commentary husband Hazmat got bodied by Boston Weather.
I saw it. That is sad, man. Were you guys actually supposed to commentate?
We were supposed to commentate a lot. Like we had like
Like
two
together?
blocks.
Ah, dude,
Yeah,
that makes me sad.
yeah. But
Unfortunate.
what are you gonna do? But nonetheless, the event was ran fantastic, and obviously, like I said, the storylines going into this is that Tweak is definitely, in my opinion, the favorite to win Genesis. But we'll see because there's players like Zach Ray that are obviously gonna be in the States for the first time. We'll see how big of a difference that makes. Um, and yeah, it's going to be really exciting. And the event itself, like I said, was ran beautifully. I got home at a reasonable time to where I could get sleep the next night.
Oh,
And
that's amazing.
yeah, dude, it was fantastic. So, like I said, shout outs to VGBC. They always put on a great show. They're always a joy to work with. It's the first time I've been paid with a physical check for an event after I commentated it.
Dude, that's
Um,
legit. That's
dude,
that's amazing.
dude, I haven't been paid with like a physical check in so long. I forgot what I was supposed to do. It felt weird.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, you know what? That's I wasn't gonna take it there, but like it's there to be taken. So obviously VG Bootcamp is sort of like they
They're
they
a business.
they are a business and they should be because they've basically earned their right to do that. So in a sense of like expanding the overall audience and growing the scene and having big events more often, or not even more often, just in different places and with different entities. Like we've already seen it with like some of their partner stuff where they'll share VODs. Like I believe there's already some House of 3000 VODs on the channel. There was some stuff from like in Europe on VG Bootcamp's main Twitch channel. Like they're starting to share some of the other stuff, so that stuff gets attention. So so is it, are we there now? Like is basically the VG Bootcamp is essentially like they are like the Smash Ultimate content providers of like real life playing. I'm not talking about like tutorials stuff like that. I'm talking about like tournaments. So like there I'll find the tweet. I think it was Tantalus' tweet basically saying like anytime one of his coworkers asks him like what's the central place to find stuff of Smash if I'm interested, and then he always finds himself saying like, oh, like it's Reddit, Twitter, Smash Sports, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, and it gets confusing. Like VG Bootcamp is sort of like you could almost kind of point to them to get it, but like, do you think we'll expect to see that more moving forward? Like, is do you think all Smash content is essentially going to get forwarded to like VG Bootcamp channel, or like where is the growth like outside of this like beyond VG because they've showed that there's a very good audience and that like events like these could be amazing.
Yeah, I will obviously. A lot of it helps with the VGBC partnership program that they have going on, where like they allow other channels to like send their VODs in, just to like reach the better. It's like when you get an ad on a dating website to boost yourself, whatever the fuck that means. Like
Right.
yeah, well yeah. So like I think it works out in the end because like I said, VGBC like obviously gets the views for it, but then like people would be like, oh, this tournament happens here, I'll go check this out. Like I said, it's just all I always point new people to VGBC because it's just it's easy, it's convenient, they have the best production quality, they have the best local on the East Coast. Like in an era where locals are exploding, they have two weeklies in the same venue that have over 100 entrants every week, which is absolutely fucking insane. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I can't get over that facility. Is it attached to like a bigger building? I was trying to figure that out.
yeah, so it's attached to the Laurel Park like racetrack. So like
Oh my god,
Laurel
that is
Park,
so cool.
yeah, Laurel Park itself, if you've never been there, is it's a horse racing track. So there's people like walking around gambling and stuff like that on horse races outside. And then Xanadu itself is in it's inside one of the buildings inside the racetracks. From what the way it looks like it was like box offices at one point, and then it was just like some like fundraising place or whatever.
Hmm.
But needless to say, they turned it into a great looking venue, and it's probably one of my favorite venues I've ever been to.
So this is the thing about that. So they basically went from where most people have started now as the pioneers for a lot of this stuff. And they essentially have their own facility where they have the locals and they could easily run majors, super majors, whatever you want to call them out of there. And then they have their channels established. So then now it's like time to build, right? So it's going to be interesting to see where everything turns because if you want to know what I think is like, obviously, maybe it was a little clickbaity, the whole Twitch being full-time thing, but like I have a feeling like you get to that point that VG Bootcamp is at, where they have like a physical place and they have their channels XYZ, and all of it adds up to be like sustainable for the people involved. But in reality, like they're not making the bulk of that money on Twitch, despite that sort of being like what people think. Like people just see like, oh, it's Twitch, big money, you're probably making money, especially if you're having viewership. But like it's just not really like that. And that's where all the other businesses happen.
They're a business. Like they have, bills to pay. They have sponsors that provide obviously for them, both be it the chairs or like the monitors the games are played on. Like that Xanadu wasn't always like this, crispy. It took years of them, pouring money into it for everything to work out the way that it did, and it shows. It shows in their production value. It shows in their space. It's fantastic. Like I will always, I'm MHG for life, baby. But like,
Understood.
I love me some VGBC. These guys are fantastic. Colleagues and friends that I get to work with every now and then. It's awesome.
Yeah, dude, setting the standard. I just felt really impressed this time around. More so than I have been in the past. Like as I mentioned, very enjoyable to watch. But let's see. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like Twitch full time in general, it's an interesting platform. I already mentioned I think it's more of a social media platform. I already mentioned it doesn't favor tournament streamers. I do wonder if maybe down the road we'll see another platform that caters more towards tournament streams. Oh, this is the other thing. There we go. I knew I'd find it. So I knew I was working towards something. So the interesting thing that I did see was obviously with all the viewership, at VGBootCamp was on the front page of Twitch. Like the very front page when you type in twitch.tv, you get to the website, first thing you see is VGBootCamp, front page. So that happened, and then I noticed after the tournament, and I will find the tweet, I think it was the Twitch Esports account, where they basically just shout out the results and I think showed a couple clips of like the tournament. Oh, here we go. I'll find it. There it is right there. So I thought this was really cool. So, and this is sort of what prompted a lot of this too. I can't believe I'm just bringing this up now, but so Twitch is apparently, like, they're obviously very interested in bulk viewers regardless of where they're coming from as they're growing themselves and still relatively newish. And then you have, like, Smash, which is kind of popping off, and then you have, like, VG Bootcamp being the standard. So I wonder if there's a point where we'll see Twitch Esports sort of adopt other streams that are Smash like this, and we could sort of see this on a regular basis. I'm not super familiar with this Twitch Esports account, but like this was pretty nice to see, because despite the website not catering towards tournament streams, like it's very obvious that they want to like start doing more with them.
Yeah, I think that's a good like first step to being able to do that, because like the best part about these like 30-second clips is that it's just people's attention spans can't retain information for that long, so it gets the gist of it across, and obviously a good first impression means a lot for a lot of people. So it was cool to watch, and even just watching it live was super awesome. Shout out to Nairo winning me that gas money that I so desperately needed.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess we're getting towards the end here. There's only so much you can milk, but I don't know. There's actually a lot to take from this particular tournament. This was, in my mind, kind of, and I'm sure a lot of other people's minds, like the very first like really big flex as far as like a Smash tournament goes.
Yeah,
all the entities were involved again, like Zero, Nairo, VG Bootcamp, like the new Xanadu, like everything that has been building for a lot of years in the scene was active in this tournament for the most part.
Yep, and it's only going to get better with Genesis. No,
except for Melee, that wasn't active or involved.
Yeah, it's okay. That's what Pound's for. But,
that is correct. But yeah, dude. So we'll see what happens with Genesis. Is that this weekend?
It's 1 week from. It's a week from now. Next Friday.
It's next Friday is when it starts. Yeah, because that was the point where everyone said everything was gonna like pop off. That's when the stats are really gonna be taken seriously, and we'll see who's kind of already used to the game and stuff like that. That is gonna be Genesis. Is it Genesis 6 too? Is that the number?
Yep, Genesis 6.
Yeah, it is G6. So yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be the next big one. And is that VG Bootcamp does that? I would imagine.
I actually don't know.
Do they have their own stream?
No, I think it's usually like the. I don't know. I think VG streams Melee. I don't know who's streaming Ultimate this year because the past few years has been that VG handles the Melee side of stuff. Because Genesis has a lot of Melee Prestige. Like that's kind of the big event for
Yeah.
them to start the year off. And I think last year, I want to say it was Showdown Smash that streamed it. I don't know off the top of my head, but needless to say, it's going to be great. Like Genesis always has a lot of history and like story behind it. It kind of sets the precedent for what to expect for a lot of that calendar year. Because I think back to G4, that's when Captain Zack kind of burst onto the scene. I think back to G5, that's when Mistake really broke out, and did really well. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the very least. But my big hot take for Genesis is that Zach Ray is going to like go on a tear and destroy people because this guy's a fucking animal.
Wait, what was you said? Zach Ray?
Yeah, so he's
I'm unfamiliar. Educate
so
me.
Zach Ray, yeah, so Zach Ray is he was this kid from Japan who played Bayo at the end of Smash 4, but he's been coined the MK Leo of Japan because he's a 16-year-old kid and he's just beating people left and right and like winning these like huge Japanese tournaments where players like Shuton and Komobakiri and the established guard like Abadango and all those guys.
Okay.
And he's just kind of this kid that's been tearing through like these huge Japanese tournaments, and he's like, from some insider info has told me that he's like seeded to do very well at Genesis, and I'm excited to see how it works out. He plays Wolf and is a character that obviously is very popular in the meta right now, so we'll see just how popular that coins, because Genesis was the breakout spot for Renai all those years ago, where he came to the States for the first time. And look what that did for his, legacy. So
yeah, everyone knows Renai now.
Yeah, may he rest in peace, Mayor Renai. You're the best.
Yeah, he really was, man. But like,
yeah, man, he died the greater good for balancing the game.
it was just so cool. I kind of feel, I don't know. I sort of feel like they should still be able to compete, but I understand why. Like they can't.
Nah, man.
But,
my
like,
friend that plays Guilty Gear says that the people that like play balance the game are actually like fucking sick. It just like wouldn't be fair.
I guess when you really think about it, they probably do shape the game around that, like specifically. So it'll be shaped around their play style regardless. That's actually interesting to think about.
Yeah, man. So I definitely feel like we should go more into. We're gonna obviously go into more detail about it next week. We can probably do a little preview show, get some friends on.
Yeah, I think, and that was sort of that's a good point. So I almost think like we could kind of. I'm starting to feel like the topics are chaining together really well. I think not to toot our own, my own horn here, but I think that like the actual flow of conversation from week to week is starting to feel a little bit more like continuing. And it's because we're getting a much better picture than I think we've ever had in terms of like collective things happening in the scene. It's been a lot of fun so far, actually.
Yeah, we're gonna keep pretending like we know what we're doing until they tell us to stop doing it. So
exactly,
I'm
dude.
definitely down for that. So if are we? I guess we're close to wrapping things up now.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Is this where we want to? Do we want to do our shout outs of the week?
We could do shout-outs of the week. I'm trying to think of what even happened this past week. It's kind of a weird week because Spectrum is
on hiatus because they're moving to a
new venue. Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have a big tournament in the local area this weekend because Glitch was happening.
Yep. But there were. I'm looking at the results. I know that Bears had some New Jersey people go to it. I know that there was a South Jersey tournament, something called Upset or Reset. That's new to me.
Yeah, Dark Matter won Bears on Friday.
Yes, he sure did.
But continuing that local tear that he's on.
Yeah, man. He's been consistent, dude, and he's been doing this since the game released. He's been very consistent.
All right, so in better interest of myself, I'm going to go first this week, so you don't get the opportunity to steal my picks. So
do it.
The easy answer for me would say Nairo for getting second place and getting me that sweet gas money on the way home. But I'm going to. I had a really good one in mind, and who is it going to be? So obviously, I want to give shout outs to guys like James and Jackal. They both got 13th this weekend.
Very close to yeah.
Yeah, their first big breakouts. Well, at least they're like their first big tournaments of Ultimate. I guess outside of Let's Make Moves, are their second big ones. So, both doing pretty dang well. I'm going to give my shout out of the week to I'm going to give it to ZD because I feel like he kind of like because Wadi's been on such a tear, he's kind of like lived in the shadow of Wadi the last couple of weeks. Even though ZD is like a force to be reckoned with in the Maryland area,
He is a beast.
He's really good. He got 5th place in the main event. I remember who I was going to give my shout out to. I got to give shout outs to my buddy Squirk, who got 13th. He beat Esam and he beat Esam, Dark Wizzy, and Mekos on course to 13th. I think he ended up losing to Jude so he got 17th then, but. Needless to say, he's been a really good friend of mine the last couple of years. So really happy. I always love seeing my friends do well, and obviously beating Esam is nothing to scoff at because he's really good. So
yeah, dude, I think who I'm gonna give shout outs to is actually someone who beat our good friend Shoyo James is House of 3000's. I guess it's Alan now. Used to be Jen. Does he still go by Jen, or is it?
He's still Jen.
Dude, that was like I felt so conflicted. That was a winner side set, but I believe it was pretty early in the top 128 bracket. And it was a pretty close set, and then like Jen just kind of pulled away. Like he's been so strong recently because he's been winning the Xeno weeklies or top 8 very consistently. He's been showing up, dude. That Palutena is looking pretty sharp for someone who just picked him up in Ultimate. So.
Yeah, man. I'm always excited. Yeah, I'm always excited to see Jen do well. So hopefully he's continues on that path. Doesn't try to mess around too much with stuff.
Well, I don't know. I think he seems. I'm gonna look real quick in these results. Yeah, he won Xeno last week out of 106, and the week before that he got second, losing to Sinji. The week before that he won. The week before that. Did he win? No, he got second, dude. He's been top 2 Xeno like the past like month.
Yeah, he's broken.
Kind of like under the radar a little bit, but like obviously winning, so not really that under the radar, but
yeah, as low key a top 2 could get because New York is stacked.
That's facts.
I watched Nick C do inappropriate things to him.
Oh my god, dude, Nick C's. Yeah. Oh my god, that would have been a good one too. He was so fun to watch over the weekend.
Yeah, this guy got absolutely memed on yesterday. It was hilarious, but anyway.
But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, man. I don't got much else, but like all I know is we'll have plenty of good stuff to talk about next week. I could already tell. So. Yeah,
man. So for our vocal only audience, you can follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ. Like I said, I'm going to be going to Genesis next week. So if you want to be caught up with all my shenanigans of listening to me drown in pools, then you can check me out on there.
Nice. And you can find me at CSantoZX on Twitter. I'm not super active, but I'll probably change that pretty soon. I'm getting to a point where I'm about to be done preparing for like we've had like 3 new tournaments for MHG, all of which needed to be like basically be created from start to finish, and it's been like week after week after week. But after this week, I'm kind of good for a bit, so I think I get to like sort of start to play and not be stressed all the time. I'm really looking forward to it.
Let's go. You deserve that.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. So catch me at some locals, but. All right. Thank you all for watching. If you've listened up to this point, don't stop now. You could go ahead and find us everywhere on, YouTube. We have SoundCloud now. Go ahead and like those things or share those things if you like this stuff. And that's about it from us. We'll see you next week.
Later.